Interview with the Times Network, Indian skipper Virat Kohli spoke about something that is arguably his favourite subject, that is fitness. The 29-year-old batsman talked about how development of mind and body is a crucial thing for all and how he would love to see the youngsters of the country spending more time in the gym rather than on social media platforms. Listen in.
Joining us, one of the fittest cricketers in the world and the captain of the Indian cricket team, Virat Kohli. Virat, thank you for speaking to us. You know, we spoke to you in November when you were asking people to come out and play. You were asking people to get fit. From then to now, has there been, improvement in that? And what has been your assessment like?
Well, yes, this thing started actively the last time that we spoke, and that was really the start of, everything that we wanted to achieve through this. And now having seen a bit of progress on that and seen surveys which have been done through Puma, because we wanted to understand exactly what people do and what their daily routine is like. I would say that yes, we have made some sort of impact, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done still, because although you want to start a movement where people, buy into that sporting culture, which I eventually would love to see in our country, but at the same time, it's very difficult to convince people straight away. But yeah, the response has been quite positive and quite phenomenal so far. But having looked at the numbers, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and it literally has to become second nature to people.
But when we talk about fitness, when we talk about playing a sport, especially in this country, there's a lot of perception that people have. Do you think it's time to change that? Where some people think that because you're this age you cannot do certain things, or because you're this age you cannot play certain sports. So somewhere do you think that perception needs to be changed, maybe to help the way forward?
I think there are a lot of things that need to be taken into account. I feel. Yes, I really don't understand the stereotypical way of, looking at everything in all aspects of life. It's not just in sport, it's not healthy at all. I've heard people say that children should not go to the gym because that stops you from growing and your height gets stopped, and I found that very surprising. I was like, why would a good workout stop you from growing? So yeah, these are the kind of things that I think people need to break away from and really understand that the development of your body and your mind is the most important thing. And your mind, you can still sit at home and think about positive things and train it, but unless you work on your body physically, your mind is not going to be able to take up that load so much on a daily basis.
And we started by speaking about numbers. If we talk about the survey that's been done with Puma, it's been, if we can say, some alarming numbers in that, in terms of people really taking up a sport or just going out to be active and fit. I mean, according to you, according to your assessment, what do you think is the reason behind this sort of alarming numbers that have come up?
Well, see, it's as evolution keeps happening, new things come in. We have come leaps and bounds. As human race in the last 30 years, technology has come in a massive way. But there are pros and cons as well. Technology has made life easier. You have access to so many things, but at the same time, there's just too many things to be engaged in, and then you lose perspective of what's right and what needs to be done at what point of time. I remember when I was growing up, not just cricket, but I used to go, with my cousins and my brothers or with my friends to sports complexes, and we used to play badminton, tennis. We used to be there for 4 or 5 hours, spending a Sunday and just, being so tired by the end of the day that you just come home and you eat food and just go to sleep. That used to be our day. We used to swim, everything. I mean, everything possible. We wanted to do everything. But nowadays, I don't see that happening too much because of, kids getting addicted to social media, and it's good to an extent. I've mentioned this a lot of times, but it's a very tricky part because when it sucks you in, you don't know when to stop.
But is it the the stress to keep up with the virtual world that's possibly adding to all of it?
I totally agree with that. People need to be sure of themselves, not involved in a race with anyone else or competition, or I want more likes than the other person, or I want more comments than the other person. I think we are heading into a more made up world which is not actually real or of any essence, if that makes sense.
Started out as a way of just probably connecting, has now become
from
integral
connection
part of life.
it's become intrusive. That's what that's the progress I've seen.
And we as a nation obviously celebrate whether it's winning a World Cup or winning medals or Olympics or Commonwealth Games, but when it comes to putting all that energy in a constructive way of themselves getting and playing a sport, because every person in this country has a favorite, whether it's Virat Kohli, whether it's the other sports persons from other sports, but do you think there can be a way of just putting that in the right way? Maybe if you would be giving a message as to what is it that keeps Virat Kohli going, or what is it that you tell yourself when you have a moment that, okay, I don't think I can do this anymore, but you still keep going. So what is it that keeps you going?
I think it's connected to the question that you asked me before this. Where does the change need to start from? I think the change can only start from your heart, because if I plan systematically, if I build a strategy around doing this, I will not be connected to it in a way that it will change my thinking, the way I think about a certain factor. Or maybe say if I don't do physical activity and someone tells me to do it, unless I find that feeling from within my heart, I will never be able to follow it, because I can do it systematically or strategically for 2 days, but then my passion is not there, so it will fade off. In 2-3 days, when my body gets tired, my mind will say this is not made for you, and then move on. But if it's coming from within the heart, then you can keep pushing yourself. The willpower is something that is very strong, and that's what people need to realize.
Who did Virat Kohli look up to while you were planning everything?
I looked up to Sachin. Obviously, I saw him play. I saw his fitness levels, and I saw the passion that he had. He could bat for long hours. Although I didn't have the understanding of creating that kind of fitness before, but also with time the game changed, so I had to sort of respect the game and move with it. So your understanding becomes better, but the initial push is always the best one, and I got it from watching him play.
Thank you. Thank you, Virat.
Pleasure.